how did I get started with Dave Matthews Band? I had just moved to New York City. I think I may have been in New York City about 2.5 years, when I started with this band called Yerba Buena, in which Roy Hargrove was like the original trumpet player. No pressure. But the very first gig that I did with that band was opening for Dave Matthews Band in State College, PA, warming up. And then I started to play through some jazz solos that I was working on at the time, and the saxophonist, Leroy Moore, came by and poked his head in, and he's like, "You're playing, this jazz solo." He's like, "That's this tune I like." He's like, "Pent Up House, Sonny Rollins." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, you love jazz." And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Me too." He's like, "You should come meet Carter." Carter's dad, is a trumpet player. So we all had a good time talking, talking shop, music, jazz, and we just kept a relationship going. We swapped info. I was finishing a tour in Boston, and Leroy calls and he said, "Hey man, what are you doing?" And I said, "Just finished a tour in Boston, getting ready to go back to New York City." He's like, "Don't go anywhere." He said, "We're doing 3 nights at Red Rocks. The guys want to know if you want to come out and play with us." And I said, "Sure." He's like, "Well, tour manager's gonna call you, we'll set you up, no problem." So tour manager calls, gets me a flight. I land in Denver. There's a guy with a sign with my name on it. I'm just like, whoa, what's going on here? So I get in the car, I pull up to the backstage at Red Rocks, and Ian, our monitor engineer, is standing there with a boombox and a CD, and he says, "This is the first song, and you're on it, so you got an hour to learn it." An hour later, I was on stage performing the song with the band, which ended up becoming a live release, a live CD. And that was pretty surreal for me. A couple weeks go by, I get another call from Leroy. He's like, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I was like, "I'm just sitting in Brooklyn, New York." And he said, "We're doing Jazz Fest, but we got to do some rehearsals first in Charlottesville. The guys want to know if you want to come down and rehearse and play the gig with us in New Orleans." And I was like, "Sure, no problem." So that all happens, and then maybe a couple more weeks go by, maybe a month goes by. I get a call from the business manager, and they said, "Well, the guys just want to know if you just want to join the band." So of course I said yes, and the rest is history. Been here 14 years now, I think. So it's been great.
Rashawn Ross and Roy Moore.